Fichte's Tathandlung is a concept or that some people have difficulty wrapping their head around. This book by Johann Gottlieb Fichte, The Science of Knowledge, or the Wissenschaftslehre, is is kind of a complex book. It's kind of complex writing in the history of 19th century kind of philosophy. So in this video, I'd like to just explain this concept in Fichte's philosophy of the Tathandlung, or the fact act. Primarily what this is, it's a lot of figuring out things about ourselves, and science has to do with finding out things about who we are and stuff like that. And it's in a way, this is a science about science. And at some point, I'd like to do a section by section discussion of this writing, and also a part by part discussion of Fichte's vocation of man. But it's just a little brief discussion of this one concept. The Tathandlung, or the fact act, is this phrase that is given many times in this book. The I posits itself absolutely. That's kind of a phrase that it's kind of hard to figure out. When he says the I posits itself, what does it mean for the I or the self to posit itself? What is that? What that is meaning to say is that this is a intelligent and rational moral agent and normative agent that is out there, that's constantly constructing and developing itself, and by the way the world is finding meaning and purpose for who we are, and also figuring out the figuring out the practical, normative, and moral, as well as the theoretical standards that one must impose upon oneself. And what that is meaning is that this is a form of idealism that is not like George Berkeley, a idealist philosopher of the modern period. He's very different from them, because for Berkeley, there's this infinite mind that produces everything that is seen. And I have some videos on Berkeley, and I find Berkeley to be very interesting to read, as well as having some really good points that I think should be looked at. He's different, or Fichte is different from Berkeley, primarily because it's a self that is. There's no objective self or anything like that. There's no objective world or objective self. But there's this fact act, where there's the I positing itself absolutely, where the self is developing and constructing itself out in the world, and figuring out how should I act, and what should I believe or think. It's called fact act or Tathandlung, because you have to figure out, via the way the world is showing itself to be via yourself, you have to figure out how to act and what to think, how to go about your lives. How to figure out you have to figure out how you should act as a rational moral agent, as well as you have to figure out what should be believed. And through that, you figure out your fact act by moral and theoretical standards, or normative or practical and theoretical standards. And that's the way you kind of develop, and you can make a meaning and a purpose for life, basically. That is a very the way I don't want to say it, because it's not like it isn't like you go out there and find your own meaning per se. It's just, it's this fact act in that you go out and you figure out the way the world is, the way it presents itself to you, and then you figure out your fact and your act, or what you should think and how you should act. This Tathandlung, or this fact act, is constructed as we develop and construct ourselves in the world to explain the meaning of our lives, and it's the explanatory ground of experience. It explains experience. The fact act does. It explains how one should go about everything, really, but it's just this one thing about how we go out in the world and just we develop and construct ourselves, and then we kind of figure out the fact and the act. And I think it is very important to understand that for any philosophy, really, that I think personally that the fact and the act has a lot of say in what the meaning or the purpose for anyone's life is. If I believe and act a certain way, that is gonna either be the cause of or affect, either way, what the meaning of my life is and what my purpose is. So it's kind of, yeah. I will not say anymore. If you think I've missed something, or if you think I've possibly forgot about something that should be included in a video about the Tathandlung, comment either on the side or below here, and I would love to discuss with you. Thank you very, very much.